Volleyball Guy.
Hello, I'm Luke Wiltshire, host of That Volleyball Guy, and if you love volleyball as much as me, then you're in the right place.
That Volleyball Guy.
Hello and welcome to That Volleyball Guy, and more importantly, welcome to the first episode of the Super League Timeout show in partnership with Volleyball England. So, if you're new to this podcast, you'll know that recently I have joined forces with Volleyball England, the national governing body for volleyball here in England. And as part of that, we'll be doing some weekly episodes focusing on both the MAREE Women's Super League and the Dynamik Men's Super League. And in these episodes, we'll be reviewing the matches of the weekend and also looking forward to upcoming matches in the Super League. Now, if you're new to volleyball in England, or perhaps you're tuning in from abroad, then the Super League of Volleyball in England is the top tier of club competition, where the country's top 10 teams compete for the Super League title. In the regular season, the teams play 18 matches, and then the top 4 teams go into the final 4 weekend. And what an exciting concept that is, where teams go head to head to be crowned the Super League champions. And what a final 4 weekend we had last season, where both Durham men's and ladies teams got the top prize of Super League champions. And I want to take this opportunity to remind you that the Final Four weekend this year will be taking place at Crystal Palace on the 5th and 6th of April. You can now get your hands on some tickets at the Volleyball England website. But if you can't wait till then why not head over to the Volleyball England YouTube channel, where you can watch all the action from last year. This weekend in the Super League, we've had our first 3 teams securing their spot for the Final Four weekend happening on the 5th and 6th of April in London. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I'm really looking forward to hosting these. And some weeks we'll have guests. I'm really pleased to have a guest with me this week, which we'll introduce shortly. And we'll be reviewing the matches of the weekend. And like I say, looking forward to this weekend's matches too. So we're going to start off with the MAREE Women's Super League. Just a reminder that the top 10 teams in the country compete in this league. And I'm just going to explain who those teams are. So we've got Wessex down in the south coast in Bournemouth. They're the league newcomers. University of Nottingham, Cambridge AIU, the winners from last year, Durham Platnuts, Leeds Gorse, Team Sideout Polonia, Lionhearts Venerius, Essex Rebels, MAREE Eagles UEL, and finally Dark Star Derbyshire. And this weekend, 9 of the 10 ladies teams were in action. We had 4 games on the Saturday and 2 games on the Sunday. And what a competition we have got lined up, and what a set of fixtures. And I'm really pleased to be starting this episode by talking about Team Sideout Polonia. So this weekend they took on University of Nottingham at home on Saturday, and they were victorious, winning 3-0, 25-14, 25-18, 25-21. And they previously beat this opposition 3-0 earlier in the season, and quite easily in the first set in that game, winning 25-8 in the first fixture. However, on Sunday, they were up against Lionhearts Venerius and a fellow London team. And again, another win for the side-out team, winning 3-0, 25-15, 25-15, 25-15. That's right, the set scores all the same in all 3 sets. And that was quite a good result for the Team Sideout team, as they just beat them earlier in the season 3-2 in one of the games of the season so far, winning that game 15-9 in the 5th set. So Sideout are now finding themselves top of the table. We've won 14 games out of 16. They've got 2 games to go. Their only 2 losses this season have both been 5-set defeats against MAREE and Durham. And I'm really pleased today to be joined by Mark Kontopoulos, the head coach of Team Sideout Polonia. And Mark, hello and welcome to the show.
Hi, Luke. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you, sir, for coming on. We were just talking that you have a very busy schedule and appreciate that this is probably one of your nights off of coaching. So thank you for giving up some of your time.
Pleasure.
So, Mark, talk us through then a little bit about the weekend. 2 big games for you.
Yes, 2 big games we were very excited about. We were up against Nottingham just last week over in Nottingham. We won that in 3, so we were looking to replicate that, and it went quite well. We were able to use the full squad, give people a chance to play, help us get into good shape for crunch time later in the season, having everybody battle ready. And Sunday was one of those that, you mark on the calendar very early on in the season. We were up against London Lionhearts, is becoming a nice, healthy rivalry there with another fellow London team. We had a fantastic game. We played very, very well. I mean, I think at times we even surprised ourselves with how well we played, how well the team executed the game plan, and yeah, super pleased. Really, it went really well.
What specifically were you happy with then as the coach from your game on Sunday? Because obviously, like we said, they took you to 5 in the first time you played them this season. So what did you do differently compared to last time?
I think there's a few things. I mean, we had a solid game plan, and the girls executed it to perfection, I would say. I think I was incredibly happy with how they executed and stayed disciplined and within the plan, even when they thought that it may not be working. A lot of the times with these plans, you've got to just stick with it and keep going. Trust the process, as they say. But I think more so what's changed since the last time we played Lionhearts and the last time we played MAREE and Durham and the other teams pre-Christmas is the way the team has bonded and the trust that's been developed between the players and the depth as well. So we've done a lot of work in different aspects of the game, and I think we've just got a really nice group of players, and we've built a really nice environment where everybody works very well together. There's this feeling of trust, and everybody's having a good time and smiling. And I think once you've got a good mix of talent, a solid game plan, smiles, trust, then everything just falls into place.
Awesome. Am I right in thinking you've made a few new signings as well before the cut-off, or?
We've made one.
Yep.
We've added Anna Rantala from Finland, an outside hitter. She came in very handy over the weekend. In particular, I should have added also that we were missing our previous 4 starting outside hitters for the entire weekend. So that was another thing that added to sort of how special these 2 wins were. We sadly lost Sydney Busa, who was our starting outside for the last couple of seasons, to an ACL injury back in November. We then lost our other outside, the Luxembourg national team captain, Carla Muli, to an ankle injury. She should be joining us again by the end of this month, hopefully. We were missing Yulia Tokarenko to illness, and we were missing Agnese Venezia to Student Cup. She was out winning the Student Cup, which was really good. And to add to that, actually, we were also missing Dana Chung, another outside, so that's 5. And she was also at Student Cup, together with my assistant coach, Chris, who was the UCL head coach and went on to win the competition. So I think that's another sort of testament to the depth that we've developed and what I've been calling the next woman up. Sort of mentality. It's a very sort of US term. You hear it in basketball and sort of US sports, where they talk about the next man up. And it's something I've been very keen to instill in my team. Ever since we had the first injury with Sydney in November, we've been talking about next woman up and just everybody stepping up and taking responsibility and just adding another 10% to their game and filling those voids. So it's been going really well.
Yeah, testament. I think what you said, like having that depth in the squad is obviously working for you. You've got 2 games left of the regular season. Thoughts on those games?
Well, our aim is to take 6 points, even though we've already qualified for the Final 4. We would particularly like to go in seeded first. We we have a 5-point cushion, I believe, at the moment. But MAREE, who are second, have actually no. I think we have more than that. I think we have an 8-point cushion, but I think MAREE has 2 games in hand, if I'm not mistaken, or something along those lines. So I think we're aiming for all 6 points, as we always do anyway. So regardless of what the point situation is, we're up against Cambridge and Essex Rebels, both away games. So we're looking forward to those. We know the teams very well, and I know they know us. They're both teams' coaches are very sort of studious and watch a lot of video, as do we. So yeah, I mean, our goal will always be a 3-point win, but we're really looking forward to the challenge.
Brilliant. And like Mark said, Team Sideout Polonia, one of 2 ladies teams this weekend, securing their place in the MAREE Women's Super League Final 4. So all that to look forward to on the 5th and 6th of April for you, Mark, and not too far to travel for you, as it's hosted in Crystal Palace this year. So you're looking forward to that event?
Oh, definitely. No more excuses for our supporters not to come all the way to Kettering. So I have a few friends that are already buying their tickets. When they heard the news that we've now officially qualified, they've started looking at tickets. So no, definitely looking forward to it. I think the last time we played at Crystal Palace was, wow, I think it was the 2010 Cup final. I'm showing my age and my years here, but I'm pretty sure it was the 2010 Cup final. So it's been a while. So it'll be really good to go back.
Yeah, a great venue, a really iconic venue for sport in this country. So yeah, so weekend off for you from Super League, but you do have a cup match against. I think it's the only non-national league team left in the cup, in the Women's Cup. Is that right?
Yep. So we're up against London Bears on Sunday, down in South London. They were the winners of the Shield last year, so they got a wild card into the cup. Looking forward to that one as well. It'll be a little bit different in that it's a non-league team, and I know that they've lost a lot of players this season, but they've had a great run making it into the quarterfinals. Extra special because my assistant coach, Chris, who I mentioned earlier as the UCL coach who just won Student Cup, was also their coach last season in the London League. So, as was Dana Chung, who played for them last season in the league as well. So that's going to be a nice little reunion for them. A nice opportunity for us to sort of keep testing our depth and getting people sort of, into just ramping up for the later stages of the season. And we've got to approach the game with caution. Obviously, we're not assuming anything going into it, but on the current form that we're in, I think we can be fairly confident that we'll come away with a good result, but never assume anything, never underestimate anyone, and do our homework and approach it with the same seriousness as every other game.
Very wise mindset. Mark, thank you ever so much for joining me on this, and wish you all the best for the season and good luck at Final Fours.
Thanks a lot. I'll see you soon.
Take care. Awesome. So, like we said, Mark and Team Sideout Polonia securing one of 2 teams this weekend who secured their space in the Final Four weekend. We'll move on to the match where Dark Star Derbyshire took on Durham Platinets away. This is the first time this season playing them. Dark Star losing both games 3-0 last season, and this time finding themselves losing 3-0 again. But this time they'll be proud of their first set performance, narrowly missing out 24-26. And Dark Star Derbyshire currently with 3 wins, played 12 games and 6 matches to go. Wessex then. So Wessex, the team that find themselves at the bottom of the table and yet to get their first win. Newly promoted from Division 1 last season, they had a double header this weekend with 2 games. On Saturday, they took on Essex Rebels, both of their games this weekend at home, finding themselves up against a tough Essex opponent, losing 3-0. 13-25, 16-25, but they'll be pleased with their third set performance, taking Essex 23-25, but Essex doing enough to take that game 3-0. On Sunday, they then had a second home match of the weekend, and again it was another loss for the South Coast team. They were beaten by Leeds Gorse 3-0, 18-25, 15-25, 21-25. And like we said, Wessex still looking to get their first win, but they've got 6 more matches of the regular season to try and prove themselves in this league and get some wins. And who knows? Who knows? This is why we love sport. Essex Rebels then, like we said, they took on Wessex on Saturday. They now sit in 3rd place. They've won 9 games out of their 12 with 6 more games to play. And they are familiar to the Final Four concept. Obviously, they were there last season. MAREE Eagles UEL. So they were the second team this weekend in the MAREE Women's Super League to secure their place at the Final Four weekend. They've just lost 1 match this season so far. They've played 14, and they've won 13 of the 14. They'll be glad that they just had the 1 match this weekend. This time, after 2 5-setters last weekend, this time they took on Leeds Gorse at home, winning 3-0, 26-24, 25-17, and 25-20. So MAREE Eagles UEL, joined by Team Sideout Polonia, are the first 2 teams in the MAREE Women's Super League to secure their place at Final Four weekend. Leeds Gorse had a long trip down south this weekend with 2 matches. They'll be pleased to take a solid 3-0 win over Wessex on the Sunday. They've still got 3 matches to go, winning 7 out of their 15 matches. For University of Nottingham in the Super League, they suffered their 11th loss of the season. They've won 2 out of 13, 5 games still to go, and they lost against Polonia on Saturday. London Lionhearts, they'll be disappointed with their 3-0 loss to Sideout after narrowly missing out on a 2-3 loss, like we mentioned and like Mark talked about earlier in the season. As a newly promoted team, they will be very, very pleased with their performances in the season so far. They've won 9 matches out of 14. And like Mark said, they are a team not to be messed with, and they have performed extremely well this season. And then finally, Durham, who, like we say, overall winners last year of the MAREE Women's Super League, they got a 3-0 win over Dark Star Derbyshire, and they are 7 from 15 with 3 matches to go. So upcoming matches in the MAREE Women's Super League this weekend. On the 15th of February, we have Cambridge ARU, the team from the only team to not play this weekend. So they will be up against the opponents of Dark Star Derbyshire, and they've played each other already this season. Cambridge narrowly missing out 2-3. So Dark Star will be looking to get another win this time. And on the 16th of February, we've got Wessex playing London Lionhearts, and this is a fixture that they haven't played yet this season. So Wessex will be looking for that first win. So a really, really competitive MAREE Women's Super League, and it's going to be a great push to the end of the season. We'll move over to the Dynamik Men's Super League. So again, a reminder, top 10 club teams in England competing in this competition. So just to remind you, those teams, they are Stockport, IBB Polonia, Essex Blaze, one of the new teams to the league, Durham Platnets, the winners from last year, Essex Rebels, bronze medalists from last year, London Giants, the new team to the league as well, University of Nottingham, Newcastle Knights, MAREE Eagles UEL, and Richmond Docklands. There were 6 games this weekend, and we'll start by looking at MAREE Eagles. So going into this game, MAREE were feeling very confident. They had won this fixture 3-0 earlier in the season, they were home against the fellow London team, London Giants. It was an extremely tight match, and this time MAREE not able to do enough to get over the line, losing 3-1 to London Giants. The scores were 18-25. Second set was 28-26. Then the third set was 26-28, but London Giants winning 25-21 in the fourth. So MAREE have only lost 3 matches so far this season, and they find themselves currently in second place. They'll be looking to secure their place at Final Four. They've still got 5 regular season matches to play, so still all to play for and lots to play for MAREE Eagles UEL. In what was a unique situation, we find Stockport taking on Durham twice in the same weekend. On Saturday, Stockport took on Durham, and Saturday it was a 5-set thriller. Stockport losing this one narrowly 3-2. And what a game it was. Just look at these set scores. Durham winning 3-2 in the first fixture, 26-24, 19-25, 25-19, 23-25, and then in the fifth set, Durham just did enough and won 15-13. So that would have been a great game for the neutral and a real 5-set thriller. And as a coach, who doesn't love a 5-set thriller? So Stockport narrowly missing out on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, they get to do it all again. This time, Durham taking on Stockport, and this time, Durham winning at home 3-0. So Stockport unable, maybe they were fatigued from the day before, the 5-setter the day before. Durham took the game 3-0, 26-24, 25-18 and 25-20. Stockport find themselves at the bottom of the Dynamik Men's Super League, winning just 2 matches of their 12 with 6 to play. And Durham find themselves with winning 7 matches out of 14, and they'll be trying to hunt down that Final Four place. A reminder that Durham won the league at the Final Four competition last weekend. Let's move on to IBB Polonia, one of the biggest clubs in the country, and this year they're up against it. They were first in the regular season last year, remember, but narrowly missed out and came second overall. They've still got 4 matches to go, but they've only managed to pick up 3 wins out of 14. And it looks like they've made a lot of signings, and they've been busy in signing new players to try and strengthen their squad and see if they can do enough to stay up in the English top tier, the Dynamik Men's Super League. And what a weekend of volleyball they had. 2 5-set thrillers. So on Saturday, they were up against the University of Nottingham. They just missed out, losing 3-2. Okay. And this Polonia, whilst they lost, they'll be pleased, because last time this fixture happened, Nottingham beat Polonia 3-1. But just listen to the set scores. So Nottingham winning the first set 25-20. Polonia then winning the second set 25-22. Nottingham winning the third set 28-26. And then Polonia winning the fourth set 25-19, which built up to a proper 5-setter, and Nottingham winning 15-13. Again, we have had some fantastic results and some fantastic matches in this Super League, men's Super League competition. So they had to pick themselves up again and go again on the Sunday. This time up against the top of the league, Essex Rebels, a home fixture for the London Polonia team, and again just narrowly missing out, losing 3-2. And again, listen to these set scores. That's right. This is correct. Okay, the first set, Polonia winning 30-28. Essex then winning the second set 25-17. Essex took the third set 25-23. Polonia equalled it to 25-22, and in a real tense five-setter, which from speaking to people that were there, it really flipped. Polonia were winning, then Essex Rebels took a lead, but Essex just doing enough, winning 17-15. So Essex Rebels winning 17-15 in the fifth. And a reminder that the first time these two played each other this season, Essex Rebels were convincing winners, winning 3-0. So whilst 2 losses for Polonia, they will be pleased with the fight that they're seeing. It is a hard task to keep them up in the league, but stranger things have happened. They've still got 4 matches to go, and with some new players in their team, it is possible. But what a season IBB Polonia are having. Falling from being one of the top teams in the country, they've struggled this year, but they'll be hopeful to stay up in the league, like I say, with a range of new signings that they've added to their roster. Essex Rebels then, top of the table after the weekend. It's been an extremely tough week for the Essex Rebels ladies and men's team, and the whole of the Essex performance sport team at the university, after the sad news of the tragic death of 4 students. And our thoughts are with the families and friends of those people. And I know, briefly speaking to Coach Alex Porter, it's been an extremely tough week for all of the guys. So yeah, thoughts with them at this really difficult time. They were able to get the win, but I know that they weren't able to run their middle offense, which is one of the strongest parts of their game. And Coach will need to go back to the training environment and work the team hard to finish the season. It shows you how competitive this league is. Essex Rebels have only lost 1 game so far, and they've still got that 5 games to go. London Giants then, they are currently in 3rd place, and what a great position they're in, being one of the league newcomers. Following their win on Saturday versus MAREE, they're able to get another 3-0 win on Sunday versus University of Nottingham, winning 25-23, 25-16 and 25-20. And finally then the University of Nottingham, like we said, a mixed bag this weekend. 1 win in that 5-setter against Polonia and 1 loss versus Giants. They're now 4th, with Durham and Newcastle Knights both on their tail chasing them to try and secure that place at Final Four weekend, winning 8 matches of their 13. So upcoming fixtures in the men's Dynamik Super League. It's just the 1 fixture this week, and interestingly, not on the weekend. We've got 1 match on Thursday, which sees 2 very, very geographical close teams. Newcastle Knights currently in 6th, taking on Durham currently in 5th. And a reminder that Durham will want their revenge, as they narrowly missed out as Newcastle Knights beat them 3-2 early on in the season. Wow, what a weekend of volleyball. And we've got some good volleyball lined up for you this weekend. A reminder that Final Four tickets are on sale for the 5th and 6th of April at Crystal Palace. And you can head over to Volleyball England's website to purchase those now. And like I said, if you cannot wait, why not go back onto the Volleyball England YouTube channel and watch all of the action from last year. So for me, that's the end of our first Super League timeout session of both the MAREE Women's Super League and the Dynamik Men's Super League. Hope you've enjoyed this review. And one final pledge from me, really, before you sign off, is if you're listening to this podcast now, I assume you're part of the volleyball community here in England, or perhaps you're listening from abroad or somewhere else. But as you know, volleyball in this country is a huge community. There's a huge community, and it's a great community, and it's all about a sense of belonging. And if I could ask for your help and support in this podcast by clicking the subscribe or follow button on wherever you listen to your podcasts, I would really appreciate it. So on behalf of That Volleyball Guy in partnership with Volleyball England, thank you ever so much for listening to this first episode of the Super League Timeout. Remember, whatever you're doing, keep playing, keep supporting, but more importantly, keep that volleyball spirit alive. I'm Luke Wiltshire. Thank you for listening.
That Volleyball Guy.